up, everybody? Armand and Jay here, your hosts for Crypto Philosophers, episode 2, August 9th, 2024. Today, what are you going to get into? Talk a little bit about a history?
I think, well, in the last show, we did say we were going to talk about who we are. I mean, you're listening to us, right? So you want to know, who are these guys? What have they done? Let's jump into it.
Yeah, man. So this goes back a long way. We'll try to keep it brief here, but yeah, man, the entrepreneurial journey, right? I've been doing it. We've both been doing it for almost 2 decades now, right?
That's right.
We first linked up doing some stuff at Blue Liner.
I think, no, originally it was at the Philosophical School. It was at Institute for Hermetic Philosophy. That's where we met. It's like an internal martial arts place, Egyptian philosophy. And, 7 principles, the Kabbalion, if you guys know, you know. And then I worked at Blue Liner at his company for like, I would say a few months, and I just got the itch. I was like, ooh, I think I could start a company.
The entrepreneurial journey.
I caught the virus, man. You gave it to me.
Yeah, man. No, I could see it. I'm like, he's not going to be here a long time because this guy's got to do his own thing. And then that's what you did when, back in 2010, we linked up. You called me.
10 or 11. Actually, I think it was 11. I was at a job site right by Wall Street. I was an electrician at the time, and I was wiring up a whole apartment. It was a whole apartment like on a floor, maybe 15 apartments.
Yeah, Broad Street, right?
It was on Broad Street. Yeah, it was right next to Wall Street, and I remember it was right a couple months after I had the dream for the lock. Oh no, it was later than that. See, this is so long ago. It was later because I was working on.
Yeah, you spent a year.
I spent a year trying to get a licensing deal. Didn't get the licensing deal. Then I had the dream. Then I met with the billionaires. Yeah. And they told me, hey, why don't you start a business? And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And she said, find someone who knows how to do it. And I remembered this guy had, right out of Columbia University, he had launched a product with a couple of his guys.
Park
called
Zone.
Park Zone. It was like a device that helped you park your car and not hit your, the end of your garage. Like people hang the tennis ball, but this was a nicer like radar version of it.
You know what we would call that today is smart car technology. We had different terms. We were like collision avoidance sensors, automotive electronics. Today it's like smart car tech. So we were actually pretty ahead of the curve there, 1997.
100%. So he knew how to, do that whole startup thing, and he had the marketing firm, so he was a great partner to start with, because I just, all I had was the dream. I had the idea of this adjustable door lock. So if anybody knows what a regular barrel bolt is, it's a lock that just gets, put on a shed or a bathroom stall. I mean, you can put it anywhere, and if it gets offset, the lock doesn't work. So this version, there's 2 brackets that hold the catch in like an open V. So if the door offsets, it still opens. That product is now in Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Tractor Supply. It's all over Europe.
Everywhere, man.
Yeah, so he helped me start that business. We started it together as partners. In 2012, he showed me how to, write the business plan, raise money, and then we launched it in May 2013 at the Las Vegas Hardware Show. Got a huge client. It was actually B&Q, which is like the Home Depot of England. They have 400 stores, and we didn't even have a working product, right? Yeah. It was that new.
We didn't know who they were. We're like, who are you guys? Let's look these guys up. We're concentrating on the U.S., and then we're getting a European account. That was interesting.
We were like, how are we going to, produce all this product? Luckily, it took a year to integrate into their system. So I had to keep flying back and forth to China to get the product made properly and get the testing done and all that. And then I think it was a month later, I wound up, with Steve, with President's Council, I wound up getting the product into Home Depot Canada.
Yeah, Steve Powell, President's Council, came through.
So it moved fast. I mean, the product it moved quick, but it took us, 5 years, maybe about $5 million of investment money to get that product really cranking. And
everything takes time, right? I mean, that's like the number one lesson through all the things. If we could sum it up, it's like the same thing with conversation we had. Like, are you ready to invest 10 years?
I remember that.
And that's the conversation you're having with people now, and we're both like, okay. And when we get back to the crypto and how we got here, it's an interesting thing to keep in mind, right? Because somehow people think there's going to be all these shortcuts, but in reality,
it's a fantasy.
Yeah, easy come, easy go, right?
It's a fantasy. I think a lot of times those fantasies come from because there are every once in a while, 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 10,000,
Yeah.
someone creates like YouTube,
Yeah.
you know, and then 2 years later they're selling it for a couple $1 billion. That happens, but it's very rare.
Yeah.
Most of the people you see that are super successful are people that grinded for 5, 10, 15 years, went through serious struggles, you know, on the brink of bankruptcy. Like, I mean, I read Phil Knight's book,
Yeah.
Shoe Dog. It was a great example of Nike and how 15 years he was like bankrupt.
Yeah, or like that Walt before, was it Walt before Mickey? Or was it that one?
Yeah,
I watched
Walt,
it.
Did you watch it? That's amazing. If you haven't seen that,
I watched it with my son. Yeah,
these are great entrepreneurial, you know, books and movies to see. And same story with him, right? He's like trying to get animation going, and he was bankrupt and homeless, and just kept pushing until it clicked.
Eating food from the garbage, writing bad checks, you know, like getting like how many failures, right? How many rounds
Yeah.
of that? And that's not the sexy part, but that's the reality, right?
Right.
And we've been through it, and we've been in it. And yeah, man. I mean, so Adjust Lock and Adjustco were amazing. Is an amazing venture that's now going on what 15, 12
From the
years,
dream,
10
yeah, but we launched 11 years
about
ago.
11 years.
Yeah.
11 years in.
But once you mention a little bit about
Yeah.
Blue Liner
Sure.
and B Labs.
Sure. Yeah, because
everybody
we
knows,
want,
you know.
yeah, we want our audience here for the Crypto Philosophers to know how we got here, how we got to this point. And I think our entrepreneurial background is a good representation. So yeah, I decided right from the beginning I wasn't going to go work for a big company. Let's do startups. Let's do something in tech. You know, this is when the internet was really just very new, very fresh. You know, I was in college. I'm old enough to say when I was in college, you know, only a few people had email. We didn't have laptops. You know, this was back '96 coming out. So it was something interesting about internet to me and technology. And B Labs is a venture studio where we launch tech ventures, startups. We have different industries. We have something in the fintech space called KidCoin. We have something in the gaming space that's similar. I'd call it Basement Sports, it's aspiring to be, we're just launching it, but it's aspiring to be like a Twitch but for actual sports, right? Twitch is videos and streaming for gaming, but there's really no streaming for sports, kids sports and games. So it's like an extension, an expansion of Twitch, something we've spent over $1 million in several years building now behind the scenes. We've got a great team of developers all over the world. I mean, our staff is everywhere. We're in Europe, we're in Asia, we're in the US. And we either grow as a venture studio, our own ventures in-house, or we have great entrepreneurs or people with ideas like the way you came to us and others. And if we think there's a good fit and we can add value, help them either raise money, do the marketing, do whatever it is, branding, right? We'll come in. Blue Whale, Blue Whale is an example, but B Labs and Blue Liner, which is, as you know, our in-house agency, we've been running for 2 decades now. So we're still
if you
learning.
want to launch a product, come to him, but don't flood him with a bunch of bad ideas. It has to be good.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love it. I always respect people with their ideas, and it's always that conversation. I've said no to so many clients that have had checkbooks out, like ready to pay. And it's like, you sure? I mean, that's your savings. You want to spend that money on this. Hey, if you believe in it, go for it. And I'll help you if I can, if we can. But think a couple times,
Yeah, you got to have all the right ingredients to make it, through the whatever it's going to take. Like I said, if you're lucky, it's $1 billion in 2 years, but that's very rare. Mostly it's going to be 5, 10, 15, maybe 20 years of a hard grind. Whatever you're trying to start from scratch, especially if it's going to be big. You want to open a restaurant, that's fine, right? But if you want to sell something, whether it's a software or some sort of service or a product that's going to be global, it's going to take a little bit.
For sure. Yeah. No, for sure.
Money and time.
And it takes great partners, right? So like finding each other, finding some of the other partners and investors. I mean, everyone's got a role to play. You need a good team. No one could do it by themselves.
Yeah, you need
any
people,
of those stories.
You need people who are going to handle the hard times, because they're always going to come. That's just life, right?
Yeah.
And if people can't handle that struggle, I've seen it happen a lot where companies, matter of fact, just a company I know recently just went belly up, and they were alive for a while, but they just couldn't handle the struggles.
Yeah. It's ongoing. The process is ongoing. And so how do we get here today, right? How do we get here today? Knowing we have trust with each other and with other partners, that we work with. this guy been telling me about crypto since 2016.
Yep.
I got on board.
Started getting really into it
Yeah.
in 17, and we mentioned that, you know, in the first show, but we've just been back and forth, you know, investing and sharing ideas, and then he started working on the Kid Coin, which really got him into the development side of crypto and
Yeah.
creating his own project. But still, we were always like, hey, did you see this project? Did you see this? So Bitcoin's going up, Bitcoin's going down. What are we, you know, how are we going to make money? And then this whole happened, right? Like, just because I guess it was February, the market pumped, right? It was our first phase of this fourth bull. As you all know, November, like October, November, it really started to crank up. And I mean, Bitcoin went from whatever it was, 20,000 up to, you know, 70.
Yeah.
And a lot of alts exploded. You know, I think AVAX was at $8. Solana was at, you know, $10, $20, and then went up to 200. Like, just a lot of liquidity moved into the market. But there were so many scams constantly. I mean, anyone who's been in crypto, even just this one cycle, if not, you know, the last few, you realize, there's just so many people. You think you're going to make a quick 10, 20x, and they're just stealing your money. So it just felt like in this cycle, the safer investment was to launch our own project. So we launched Blue Whale, which is a meme token on Solana. But it's more than just a meme, because a lot of times a meme is just a funny picture and the community's just making jokes. And, you know, we have Billy the Blue Whale as our mascot, but there's a lot. It's becoming like an entertainment hub because of our backgrounds. So if you want to talk a little bit about like the different levels of it, and then how we're actually going to like benefit the token
for
holders.
sure. I mean, it's all happening organically, which is very cool. But you have to put a framework in so you can give investors an understanding of what's coming, right? So we've created these milestones, and the entertainment hub. So the different spokes are gaming. So we have a video game. It's a very cool game. It's got like 10 different versions. That was the first thing out, right?
And you can win tokens by winning the game.
Yeah, I think it's great. When you have a game, and obviously people just like the playability, that's one thing. Then when you create some kind of contest or some kind of incentive around it, that's another. And then when we bring in the NFTs and all that, which we'll talk about, then that's another level. And that's what the best gaming companies in the crypto space are doing now. And so, you know, have the game. We signed a platinum music artist, Matt Hartke. Didn't sign him, but he joined in the board, and he invested in the project.
We'll have him play a song on the show soon,
He's
right?
amazing. He couldn't make it, you know, today. He's on like a tour. He had a concert to play this evening, but
September.
You know, he lives nearby. We'll have him on next time we film. And yeah, he's been on our VCs before, and we'll bring him on again. But the cool thing is, when I talked to him, he's already into crypto and memes, so he understood it.
He loves it.
He understood it, and he sees the vision for what we're doing. And that's part of the entertainment hub. We're writing a manga, an anime, comic book, which is now got almost 100 pages, and it's you know, pretty cool story. Billy and his friend Nelly, and how they grew up, and you know, it's Matt's music actually works really well with that, so we're planning to integrate those.
It's pretty awesome, and he ties like his philosophical comprehension and training into that comic, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's what all the best movies, and whether it's Star Wars or whatever, like there's some kind of matrix, right? Dario talks about it all the time.
Avatar,
our spiritual teacher, Dario Salas, talks about it all the time. These movies that have that essence. It's like, no, there's some meaning behind that. So yeah, trying to put some meaning behind it as well, which I think, you know, morals, you know, anyone can relate to it.
And that's also why this, you know, we're crypto philosophers too, because we study and practice this operative philosophy. And that's why my name on Telegram and Twitter is H Philosopher.
H Philosopher.
So
that's right.
That's why all that's there.
That's right, man. That's great. I mean, look, you got to integrate everything. I mean, you know, to be in a venture, to be in whatever you do, and to like bring yourself to it instead of saying, oh, I have to put on a show now. It's like you could be yourself and you know, bring yourself. If you could bring yourself to your work and make money doing that, I think it's a great thing to do. You know, we don't always love every part of the work when we got to go raise money or go to the factory for late hours. I mean, it's like just kind of comes with the territory, right?
You got to pay your dues, man. You got to pay
man.
your dues. And then now the last use case.
Yep.
Let's jump into that.
For sure. So, you know, podcasting, I mean, this space, what we're doing here with our show, we're doing like today, like Friday, we have the crew here, we have us here, we have other people coming in. We've had 3 different shows, this being the middle one. We had our fashion client, Jack George, is in earlier. We do kind of like a QVC style shopping show.
His products are tons of stores too.
Yeah, everywhere. They're in every Costco, every TJ Maxx.
Nice.
And used to be, when all the smaller luggage and leather stores used to be more independent stores, now there's less. Now everything's like big box.
It happens
in that
with
industry.
the hardware stores too.
So he's gone more online, which is why he brought Blue Liner, our agency, in, because we specialize in that online optimization. He's got great product, and he's been around since 1987 selling. So, Jack's a great businessman, and so yeah, Blue Whale Studios is hosting and filming Jack George's, all of their marketing, videography, and the show. And then this evening we have episode, I think the 6th episode we're filming. We've posted 2 now. The other one went back up today.
So this will be the 3rd one released then, right?
Probably what we filmed tonight will be the 3rd release for Drita Uncut. It's been a great pleasure so far. It's been a lot of fun. Drita Devanzo is an old friend, of mine, and she came to me back in February saying, "Hey, I want to do a podcast," and I said, "Hey, we got a studio. Come on through," right? And so
she's amazing, man.
Yeah.
So she was on Mob Wives. Her and Big Ange were like best friends, and they were, to me, they were the highlight of the show. And I still love watching some of the clips, and her podcast is amazing. So you're going to want to check it out. And like I said, it's happening in here. So as that show gains exposure and grows, because she already has millions of followers from that time when she did the Mob Wives, that's going to continue to build up. And then that's going to bring exposure to Blue Whale as the token on Solana, and also Blue Whale Studios, because that's all happening here. And, so we're supporting her and also bringing an awareness to her show into the crypto space through, the different social accounts that we have. And, eventually she'll wind up, talking about us too. But mainly right now she needs to just build her show, and that's what we're helping her do. And then Armand, B Labs and Blue Liner, they actually have this service. So anybody listening here, if you're interested in launching a podcast, you don't know what to do, he offers that service through his company.
For sure, yeah. So check us out. Look up Blue Liner. Just look up Blue Whale, bluewhale.earth. Our website has the production podcast division where we highlight our shows, our content, and hopefully, and I believe, before you know it, we have 3 shows in there. We'll have 5, 6, 10. Our goal is to, as an entertainment hub and information, to have 10, 15, 20 useful and entertaining and productive shows. Obviously, we need engagement and want engagement there. And by the way, when you have shows and when you have viewers, you create a revenue stream. So the one thing a lot of startups fail to talk about is like, hey, we got these great ideas, but how are you going to make money, right? Same thing in crypto. It's like, we're building all this cool tech. Well, are you going to charge gas fees? So now let's get into the crypto side a little bit. That's that lacking we don't have, because we could launch our book on Amazon. We can have sponsors, obviously, which is our plan for all of our podcasts, right? And then part of that revenue comes back through to Blue Whale. So people who are investors, in our project, which is beautiful that it's publicly available to anyone that just, has a wallet on Soulflare or Phantom. And we could obviously want to, as part of this show, teach people, demystify. I did it with a friend over this weekend, as I was telling you, explaining what's
Blue Whale.
Blue
Jump
Whale,
off that call for that.
and then how to get into it. I'm like, here it is. Check out the phone. And I picked up my phone and look, check out this app. And he went and downloaded it. Okay, from your Coinbase, send some over. So, of course, I wasn't prompting him to. I was like, a couple $100, if you want to come in. He's like, no, I'm going to put in more than that. He's like, I got to follow up with him this week.
Smart,
It's a good time in the market too, right?
Our market cap is so low right now, because we had the huge explosion earlier, like I mentioned. Now everything's quiet. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But and then can you explain a little bit about how the mechanism will work for the profit sharing?
For the NFTs, sure. So as I said, we're a revenue generating. I mean, our aspiration isn't just to, hey, have a token and celebrate it, wave the flag. We want to have revenue. We want to be on our weekly updates and our reports. Hey guys, let's look at not just our chart, let's look at our revenue and our deals, that's coming in for our various shows. So still an undetermined percentage, but some percentage of the revenue that comes into because we have different percentages in every show, right? But there'll be some percentage of revenue, let's say from Drita Uncut, for example, that comes through, from sponsors. Let's say it's $1 million in a given year. and some percentage will go through to NFT holders. We haven't released the NFTs yet, but we're planning on releasing a line of somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 NFTs. I think that's a good number. And how do you price an NFT, right? Well, what is an NFT? I mean, Mark Cuban has made his NFTs into tickets for, Mavericks games, right? Gary Vaynerchuk has made his NFTs access to, live events and one-on-ones with Gary. So they have value. You have to keep giving real life value to them. And for us, the real life value is going to be twofold, but one is that revenue share. You're going to get a piece. There's going to be $1 million, and then let's say, the NFT holders are going to get 5 or 10% of that. Let's just call it 10% for now, and then that gets split. So it's 100K split across the 1,000 holders. So everyone gets, what's the math there?
100K, 1,000?
Yeah, like it's $100.
No, that's yeah, I think so.
I think it's 100, right? Yeah. So, but let's say that's, that doesn't sound like a lot, but how much does the NFT cost? That's what we're figuring out now. If the plan is for the NFT to cost, someone suggested 1 SOL, but it could be half a SOL. It depends where the price of SOL is.
But also, what if, I would say, when Drita's show becomes what we know it's going to be, because she's so dynamic and beautiful and amazing and wise, and super entertaining, that what if all of a sudden there's a deal where, it's like $60 million, $100 million deal. Now how much is going to the holder?
Right,
so
right. Now you're
that's
getting
the exciting part.
Right. Yeah. Now you're getting 10,000, whatever it is, whatever the math is. It's good math if we're successful, right? And then not if, when, like you said, when we're successful. But
you gotta feel it. You gotta know it.
It takes and it takes time, like anything.
And also that's the NFT. I don't know if we're gonna tie that into the current token holders, or it'll just be something new. But either way, with that exposure in the show and the NFT doing well, Drita, and then of course the Blue Whale token is also going to increase, because right now the market's really saturated. I mean, there's been millions of tokens launched now, so it's very difficult to get noticed. So a lot of the tokens that are really like going up to the 100 million or the billion kind of level are getting almost chosen by some of the big elites that are behind, Solana or AVAX or Base or whatever it is. So for us to get recognition, we need to get it organically, like through the exposure through Drita, and just organically having everybody raid Twitter, which it takes time, right? Yeah. But when you build a project like ours and you stick around and you actually have utility, people will notice. It takes a little bit, because once again, most people are chasing that quick, like I want to put in $1,000 and I want to pull out $100,000 in like 2 days. That, once again, like I said earlier, like YouTube, there's a fantasy, because that actually does happen. Yeah. Right? It happens once in a while where the project does that, and everyone's like, oh, so they think that every project's going to do that. And the scammers, they bank on that, because they know people are emotionally like chasing that, the feeling of getting that 100x, especially if someone's actually had one in a previous cycle. Like I know I have. I've had 100x's. That feels amazing. Losing, $100,000 also is the opposite, right? So when you are chasing the next meme, if you go on Dextrina or Dex Tools and you're like, oh, this one just launched an hour ago, I'm going to put $1,000 on it. You think it's going to go to $100,000? 98% chance it's going to get stolen, and 2% chance you're going to hit that 100. So with a project like ours, and we're not the only one. There's other ones you got to hunt for them that are going to stick around for the long term and actually build something, will get recognized. Yeah. And that's where I'm going to put most of my money.
I like this. I mean, let's talk about this for a little bit. So let's talk about like this whole idea about people getting in early, right? I mean, it's great, right? If you got in early on Apple stocks in 1985, 88, put $1,000 in. I don't know what the calculation is. There's probably a calculator now.
It's crazy.
$1 million, right?
Probably more.
And so you it's a gamble, but it's an investment. And you have to understand, like real estate, right? Some neighborhoods might be a little more downtrodden. Someone invests, whether you buy a building or you invest in some kind of mechanism, it's a good investment. Same with stocks, with crypto, right? It's happening in our space, right?
And there's nothing like crypto, because it's true. That's why people are so excited about it. You can make huge percentage gains much faster than you could waiting for Apple, for 30 years. Right. Right. You can, if you're lucky, you can hit one that'll 100x in a day or two. But the safer one is going to be, giving a project 6 months, 12 months in the middle of a bull run to actually develop and get noticed. Yeah. Right. Or you want to the even safer route is just to buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, buy Solana, buy Avalanche, buy all like the top tokens, BNB, and just get your 20 or 40%. You know,
Yeah.
if you got 100K or a million, that's like the safest way to make money. But if you're like, I only have $1,000 and I want to turn into 100, then the best way is to find a project like Blue Whale or another one similar where you can like see the teams actually building something and they're just waiting for a specific catalyst to kind of take off.
Yeah.
Like typically in a bull run, well, before the bull run, but even in the middle of it, I'm hunting for more projects like this. Like I said earlier, this is the first time we actually built our own because we figured if we build it ourselves, we don't have to wait for somebody else to do what we want done, right?
Right.
But I'm still going to look for 5 or 10 more projects that I feel like are going to 100 or 1,000x.
For sure. And that's part of what we want to do here with the show, right? We want
That's
to,
right.
you know, again, we're not giving financial advice. We're not financial advisors.
That's
not
correct.
Not that financial advisors necessarily know what they're talking about either, but we'll bring some
Crypto,
on
you
the
have
show.
to say that, right?
We'll bring some financial advisors on the show and see what
Real
they
ones.
say. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like the thing with doctors, right? And that's a whole nother topic, but it's like, okay, well, let's see who we're going to really listen to because what are financial analysts saying now? Let's talk about this investment thing and how like the market is right now. When you say, ask people like, what's happening to the markets right now? I mean, markets can't just keep going up forever. There's got to be some kind of fundamentals. I'm talking about just any markets, right? But yeah, why don't we look
Speaking
at
of that, let's
your
take
chart.
a peek
Yeah,
here.
let's do your weekly crypto or your monthly crypto market review.
Yeah. So right here, we are looking at the Bitcoin chart, right? Bitcoin USD chart on the weekly, right? So you look right here, you'll see I have drawn a cup and handle, which is a standard indicator for it's bullish, right? Like I said in the last podcast, our first podcast, it's all, percentages. So maybe there's a 60% chance this is going to go up.
Yeah.
But you have to watch it. So typically, like that, we had a huge dump last week. You'll all remember it on Friday. There was a whole kind of rumors
Last
of
Friday,
war. Yeah.
August 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Rumors of war going on with Israel and Iran, and I think the market. There was a report that came out in the States that scared everybody, and stocks dumped like crazy. I mean, all the U.S. stocks just dumped. And then, of course, crypto followed on the weekend, and Bitcoin went from whatever it was, 60-something K all the way down to 49.50. So as you can see, what I'm looking at here is that it broke out of the bull flag, but it came right back up, right? So we're now sitting at $60,000. So this structure on this larger time frame, which is just like a high-level overview, nothing's really happened. It's what we talked about in March and April when we first launched Blue Whale on Solana. We're like, hey, we just pumped up for 6 months, so we know that we're gonna, dump and go sideways for months.
Yeah.
Even we were talking about it in our, we have a voice chat in our Telegram every Tuesday at 10 a.m. and we have a X Spaces every Friday at 11 a.m. just to kind of give updates to the community. And we were talking about this, back in May. We're saying, guys, it looks like we're gonna go sideways for the entire summer. So far, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So if you're a good trader and you've been around for a while, you know that there's no need to panic. Go outside, go to the beach, touch some grass, hang out with your kids. You don't need to worry about this so much. Now, there's no guarantees.
Yeah, of course.
But every crypto market usually looks very, very similar, right? They say it's not identical, but it rhymes, right? So right here, you'll see that this is a giant cup and handle, and it's also a huge bull flag. That's why I have these lines up here showing that if this does break out and sustains a breakout above this line here, technical indicators in history would say that we're going to 94,000 and all the way up potentially to 115,000.
Is that a prediction?
Well, it's probability, right? So 67% chance that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, if it breaks down and we get a sustained breakdown this way, then we'll wind up, way down into the 30s potentially.
Right.
But that's just what the indicators in history is saying typically will happen. But
Sure.
it doesn't mean that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I did want to add in one more thing. Shout out to my boy Crypto Face. I forgot to mention that thing. When I was doing leverage trading in 2018 and 19, I was a board member in his group, and it was like 6 or 7 of us on the board, and we were kind of just managing a group of maybe a few hundred people doing these amazing trades, and he's still doing it to this day. So last week when the market crashed, that's what he's looking for as a leverage trader, right? So he's shorting or longing. He's looking for a huge move up or a huge move down. And he's not the only one, but he's the one that I know and respect. And he made $1.2 million on the weekend, right? Riding that dump down. So he probably saw the stock market crash and was like, short. He probably put in like anywhere between 200,000 and 400,000 of his own Bitcoin, and then wrote it down and actually took those profits.
Nice.
So yeah, if you want to leverage trade, we talk about it on another show. It's little complicated. It's very emotional. So my advice is it needs to be a full-time job if you want to do it well.
Yeah, no, day trading, and that's,
brutal. But that man's been making money ever since. And he doesn't win every trade, but
yeah, for sure.
He's driving around in Ferraris.
You're never going to win them all. It's a game of percentages.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is great. So just again, for high level reference on this, we're looking at Bitcoin, which is about half of the crypto market, right? In terms of market capitalization.
That's right. We can pull
I think it's like 2.5 trillion, or maybe it's down now. Maybe 2.2.
2.1 trillion right now.
Yeah, I was going to say 2.1, 2.2. So we're still over 2 trillion. Back in 2017, analysts were saying, well, is crypto going to go to 100 billion, right? So like we're way past that point. And that's not a bad market cap, all things considered, even with, you take a hit like we did and we're still over 2 trillion.
Yeah,
Bitcoin's about half of that.
It's 56% of the market right now. And it's at almost $2 trillion.
Yeah. And have you been seeing, or basically you're just showing the Bitcoin chart there, do you see basically the whole market feeding off that? Like Bitcoin's the what do they call it? The weather vane for
typically
the rest of the market?
Yeah, Bitcoin, whatever Bitcoin does, everything else follows. People have been waiting for years for another high level crypto like Ethereum, or here's another. Here we got Ethereum is in second place, BNB is in fourth, Tether doesn't count, that's just a stable coin. Solana's in fifth, and USD is stable, XRP is in seventh. So they've been waiting for one of those to kind of like start moving on its own and just be uncorrelated with Bitcoin, but that just hasn't happened since the inception of it. Right. I don't know if it'll ever happen, because you got all the institutions now really like buying Bitcoin and holding it. I mean, Trump was just on TV a week or two ago talking about he wants, if he gets elected, he's going to never sell any of the Bitcoin that the U.S. government holds and probably wind up buying more.
Do we know how much they hold or no?
I don't know.
Huge amount.
It's definitely
Secret.
a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I'm sure that, if any of the other candidates are smart, they'll also be pro-crypto, because it's just becoming such a global phenomenon,
So the markets, the cryptos will all correlate and follow Bitcoin, but the correlation will be different, right? Bitcoin might grow 10%, but some smaller cap, let's say, or a popular meme token might grow 50%,
well, I'll give you an
100%.
example. If Bitcoin does that move, like we're pointing at right here, and goes to 93,000, I guarantee you that all these top projects, well, the ones that are, still innovating and doing well, they're all going to like 2 or 3x.
Yeah.
And then the next one's down in the hundreds and 200s on CoinMarketCap, they might 5 or 10x, the good ones. And then the really low market cap tokens like Blue Whale potentially could do that 100 or that 1,000. Right. There's going to be more projects this cycle, and that's what everyone's hunting for, right? There's no guarantee. You don't know which one you're looking for, but there will be more 100 and 1,000x's before this cycle is over. Right. And then even after this cycle, there'll be another bear and there'll be another bull. Right. And we'll get into that another time. Yeah,
and just a couple last final thoughts. Like in each wave, right? Like the third crypto wave, which a few years back was like the NFTs, and now this wave is like the meme season, right? The memes. And there's, like you said, there's thousands of them, new ones starting. How many of the meme projects, roughly speaking, are like over a certain like high level market cap, let's say 100 million or something? The other day we were talking about it.
Yeah. So the ones that are over $1 billion is probably less than 10.
Handful,
probably less than 10. And then the ones that are over 100 million, maybe like 20 or 30.
20 or 30, right.
So it's not a lot. Okay. Out of millions, those are all the ones that are like, let's say in the last cycle, maybe there was only 3 or 4. Right. And after the bear market, when they dumped, once the bull started, they went right back up into the billions if they dropped below billions. But Doge and all that, they stayed up. And now in this cycle, you'll probably have 30, maybe 40 that will survive the bear market and go right back into the billions immediately as soon as the next bull run after this bear.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons I like meme tokens, and we'll go into it maybe in another episode. But for now, I'll just say I like the opportunity and the possibility to put different types of businesses. Like, we have our vision, and everyone has their own story, right? Some of them don't have much of a story, but I like the possibility to build something real in there, right? Like it's a public company, but it's not, right? I mean, the coin isn't technically a legal affiliation for stock or anything like that. And so I'm sure more regulation will come over time, and we'll all have to pay attention to that. And I do advise for the approach that we're taking, which is transparency, showing who you are. People have their reasons for being private, but how are you going to invest in companies and projects where you don't even know who's behind them? To me, I wouldn't want to put my money behind people and projects that I can't, hear from, and build some kind of connection with.
That's a big thing in crypto. Like a lot of people are like, no, it's okay to be anonymous. And then, others have the same mindset. I'm kind of open to either or. Like I've seen projects go to the billions with a totally anonymous team. But I also, I guess, I would say I prefer. I prefer to have an open, transparent team, and that's why we did. You convinced me to do it. Originally, I was like, but then I said, why not? I've got nothing to hide. Let's just go out there and show everybody who we are.
Yeah, I mean, it opens us up to different things, maybe being more criticized or questioned, but so be it. I mean, let's see how it goes, right? We're doing it this way, and we'll see who else does it. I mean, any of the celebrity tokens or people, like you mentioned, some of the others, I mean, we're affiliated with someone, but it's not her token, but some of the others, it's like their token, and they obviously have to be public. So they're putting their reputation on the line.
Speaking of those, my two favorite are Mother, which is Iggy Azalea's. She's always in her Twitter and Telegram, whether it's her or someone that works for her. Her project, even after the dump, is at 52 million right now. And then Daddy, which is Andrew Tate's tokens, at 42 million, even after their dump. They both went up. Daddy went up to 200 million, and Mother.
Daddy and Mother. Any relationship there between
Daddy and Mother? What's funny is, look, so Iggy's went up to 250 million. If you look at the picture of Daddy, it's literally Tate slapping Iggy's ass, right? So a lot of times that's what makes a meme great, is it's hilarious, it's funny, and people they feed off it, and they post memes, and the whole community builds around it, and it's amazing, right? So I would just, those are two great examples of a celebrity token that the celebrities are actively involved, and then there's others that just died. I'm not going to mention their names, but you can find them yourself.
Sure.
They just, whether their scammer launched it and then they had to try to take it over and fix it. It doesn't work that great, when people just get burned like that. But these two, they're doing great. They'll probably be around forever now. Those tokens will just continue to be built.
So let me ask you one, kind of like my last, just question or talking point. And again, total non-financial advice, but let's say like a good friend or family member, someone came to you like tomorrow, like, hey Jay, I got 100K, I don't need this money. It's not like life savings. It's more like, hey, I pulled this up. I want to make some investment, not necessarily in crypto. They're just saying like, I haven't really invested, just been working hard. All my money's in the bank. And I got enough money in the bank, right, for things, right?
I can lose this money. I won't even.
Like I want to take some risk, but I obviously don't want to lose it. So quickly, what kind of allocation would you recommend?
That's a great question.
Keep half in stocks, but half in
I'll treat it if it's mine.
If
that's my 100 grand, what would I do with it? I would first off, just so you know, anyone who's been in crypto for a long time knows that what you really want to be doing is getting as much money as possible to buy as much Bitcoin, right? That's why you got Michael Saylor, who's putting billions and billions and billions into Bitcoin. All the ETFs, everyone's buying that because it's a digital form of gold, right? Yeah. So a lot of people still like, oh, well, what if, the internet goes down, and the internet goes down and everything shuts down, right? Banks, everything. So it doesn't even matter. But that, I would put probably 20 or 30 grand in Bitcoin first. Just put it in there, because if you believe and you see what's happening and you see all these big dogs talking about it, a lot of these folks believe that it's going to go to 500,000, a million, or even more. Right. Eventually, in the next 5 or 10 years.
There's a scarcity, right?
So
30K in Bitcoin.
Put it in Bitcoin.
30% in Bitcoin.
Yep.
Okay.
Then I would
70K.
I would do a third, and third. I would take another 30K, and I would spread it across the top layer ones, top projects. You can look at them right here. Okay. It would be like Ethereum, BNB, Solana.
Okay.
Some people, like XRP, some people think that's going to become this huge thing. It's been, they've been talking about it forever. Maybe if that's your choice. And then Avalanche, I like Avalanche doing some really cool things.
Cool.
But there's probably a few more. You spread it out amongst like 10 of those.
Got it. So you got 30 and 30.
That's all blue chip right there.
Right.
Now you take 30 and you go and you hunt for a blue whale type of project. You want to get like 10 of them.
Yeah.
So
10. Okay, that's good advice.
Put like
I mean, it's
$3,000.
not advice.
No.
Good self recommendations.
It's recommendation.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would take 3,000 and I would put it on 10 meme projects.
Got it.
Or even just any other project that's a super low market cap, like below like 10 million and preferably below $1 million, right?
Okay.
And just let the bull market do what it does. So I would watch Bitcoin. When Bitcoin crosses 100K,
Yeah.
I would start pulling
some out.
profits off of everything,
Right,
including Bitcoin too.
Right.
Because in bull markets, everything's going to dump, and you don't want to ride that wave down. It's horrible.
You know what? Maybe next show we'll do like a hypothetical allocation and we'll track it. There's some different trackers. Like, hey, here's 100K. Let's see.
That's a cool idea. We should.
let's
We
do
can
it.
buy up. We can literally have like a fake portfolio.
Yep, exactly.
And then watch and see what happens during the bull
See what
run.
happens.
It's a great
See
idea.
what happens. So, okay, you have 10K left. You're going to keep that in cash. You're blowing it in Vegas. What are you
10K
doing?
would be dry powder, as we always say. You want dry powder because when you're involved on X and you're in Telegram with all the different communities that you're involved in,
Yeah.
like I'm always talking to
Yeah.
different people that I've met over the years in crypto. We tell each other when we find cool projects. So someone's going to say, "Hey, I just found this amazing project. I know the team members behind it." Like if someone said, "Hey, I found Blue Whale," I want to throw $2 or $3 grand on that project. So I want to have a little bit of extra dry powder for that, and that's what the 10K is for.
Okay, cool, man. Good stuff. Thanks. And we'll track that next time. We'll do a portfolio. All right, guys. Crypto Philosophers, episode 2. Hope it was useful and informative. Send us your questions, ideas. We'll have guests on the show. Let's start having some guests on as well.
Lawyers, financial people, other crypto folks.
Yeah, man. Some cool projects. See you next time. Peace.
Take care.